What's up, players, and welcome to the next episode, next video on Sterling on Cinemas. That's Cinemas with an S. And today I'll be giving you my review on Toy Story 3 as part of the Pixar playlist that I give you a review on a Pixar movie until the most recent one that comes out on Tuesdays. So before I begin, if you are new to this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment on the section below, and most importantly, watch it from first to last. And the same thing goes if you're on Instagram. If you're new to my page, don't forget to follow me. If you like the video, give it a heart. And if you have anything good to say about the movie, or if it was something similar to what I may say in the video, you can comment that on the section below, whether you're on Instagram or YouTube. Let's get to it. So, with their beloved Andy preparing to leave for college, Woody, Buzz Lightyear, Jessie, and the rest of the toys find themselves headed for the attic, but mistakenly wind up on the curb of the trash. Woody's quick thinking saves the gang, but all but Woody end up being donated to Sunnyside Daycare Center. Unfortunately, the uncontrollable kids do not play nice, so Woody and the gang make plans for a great escape. However, that's not why they are escaping. That's one of the reasons, but that's not what the main reason they're escaping for. Now, to this day, it has been said that Toy Story 3 is considered to be the greatest Toy Story film and the best Pixar movie out of all of them, even after Toy Story 4. I mean, I haven't seen Toy Story 4 yet, but we'll see. But so far, this is the best one. Toy Story 3 makes a lot of changes from the last two films. The last Toy Story came out in 1999, and a lot has... In between then and now, things are different. Andy's getting ready for college at 17, and the toys feel that they have no purpose of being played with anymore. So the next step of action they take is relocating to Sunnyside Daycare. But little did they know that Sunnyside has a dark side. All Pixar films were made for both adults and kids to enjoy, and I think Toy Story 3 is a perfect example of this outcome. See, when we see the toys thinking that they are going to end up with a bunch of well-mannered kids and find a new home with other delightful toys where they will continue their tradition of being played with and being there together with more kids. But later, the audience gets warned about what the toys are getting themselves into. Now, the moral to Toy Story 3 is that even though everyone grows up, no one, and I mean no one, should forget how special their youth is. Now, keep in mind, there's nothing wrong with being young. I know a lot of us, even when you're 18, even when you're 17, 18, 19, you want to call yourselves grown. And technically, yes, you are entering adulthood, but you're still young. You know, you're still young. And we've all had our we've all had our memories about our childhood, whether it's been filled with toys or not. Because I know my childhood had action figures. It has had cartoons on TV, and I love those times. But I will never let it go. I will never stop holding on to the precious value of my childhood. And that's the important thing that Toy Story 3 teaches us. The theme of Toy Story 3 is self-worth. But I'll explain it later. But my favorite thing about Toy Story 3 is how it contradicts the usual Pixar protocol of having a kid-friendly tone and atmosphere. Hence the Holocaust vibes. I really don't think that any other Pixar film before or after has gotten this dark and gritty. I may forget, but if you're sure that there was a Pixar film after Toy Story 3 that has gotten dark, even not to this level, to the point where you can say it's raw, but dark, period, dark in general, you can say it in the comments below, whether on IG or Instagram or YouTube. But there was a conspiracy theory when this came out about Toy Story 3 and how it was inspired by the Holocaust and how it sports a similar correlation with the concentration camps, a highly sophisticated security system, and the fact that we almost see our titular toys end up in a furnace. See, the fact that Pixar can make grown people cry in scenes like that proves that they are an unstoppable force of animation. They know how to be a family friendly magnet of imagination and wonder in storytelling. We will always love the Toy Story characters to infinity and beyond. Even if you were not as young as Andy was in 1995 and grew up with these toys, there's always enough room in our hearts for these toys. But as toys, they have always lived by the standard of sticking together and always being there for Andy, even in the attic. Of course, we see the toys willfully by accident, choose to go to Sunnyside Daycare, and we all know how that ends up. But the toys forget how valuable they are. And Woody, coming from Woody Woody never loses his sense of self-worth due to his recent experience with being a collector's item from Woody's Roundup. And now he knew he was just as valuable as Buzz was during that time, 1995. But he did believe that the attic would work and eventually they would come out again. But the toys believed that they were goners and they should move on. They thought that they were getting replaced. And this fear of getting replaced has constantly come up in past films. In the past film, like, I hope I don't get replaced. I hope I don't get forgotten. I hope I don't get locked up in a box. I feel like some of these aspects, some of these negative thoughts or negative worst case scenarios have come to light in this one. Once we get to Sunnyside, though, we meet more supporting toys that have become fan favorites like Ken and Barbie and Lotso Huggin Bear or Lotso. One of the more empathetic Pixar villains, Lotso represents the last result of a toy being thrown away. His flashback story felt reminiscent of Jessie's flashback with Emily, but it has a different vibe to it. Remember Jessie's flashback story? The thing that I talked about in Toy Story 2 that had me get the over 400 views that I've gotten. Thank you again. The worst case scenario that was going through Lotso's mind in that moment is the same scenario that was going through the minds of Andy's toys except Woody. But if it hadn't been for Woody, I don't think they would have never been reminded of where they truly belong and what they could possibly do, what their potential is as toys, where their fate is as toys. But Lotso has completely lost his colors and his scent and was already a lost toy ever since. Now, collectively, each of the main characters had their best moment in the entire franchise so far with The Great Escape. Like, The Great Escape from Sunnyside Daycare is one of the best sequences in any animated picture that culminates with a debate between Woody and Lotso about the value of being a toy. And I think that scene was so powerful because it explains their you get to see their different perspectives and opinions as living life as a toy. We've seen Woody and the other toys throughout the movies. Andy was a good kid. He played with them like he loved them. But see, Lotso got it twisted because his own Daisy, I was about to forget the name, Daisy, Lotso's owner, she simply forgot about him, but the way he was thinking about it is that he was being replaced. But technically, Lotso was the only person that got replaced because if she couldn't have him, then nobody else could. So all she did, so that just goes to show that another way of saying that is if nobody can have Andy's toys, if no one can have Andy's toys, if Andy couldn't have those toys, then nobody else after him could. But of course, all of that gets proven wrong when the toys get passed over to Bonnie. Because since they were played by Andy and Andy adored those toys, that goes to show somebody else would eventually love those toys as well. Now, speaking of Bonnie is proof that these toys can never be replaced, but rather passed on to the next generation because it is not about you getting played with. It is more about who is playing you, who is finessing you. See, toys don't play with other toys. And in this case, Lotso was trying to play these toys to keep them locked up and to keep them contained inside of this prison-like day camp and to never truly be played with a kid. All they do is get tossed around and chewed on and bitten and sat on and ridden. But, But I want to talk about that ending, the epilogue. Like that epilogue right there, where Andy passes on each of those toys, each of his toys down to Bonnie. That was a good moment. That brought everything before it full circle. And that's not the end of the franchise, but it was the end of an era. Rotten Tomatoes gives Toy Story 3 a 98% score. Toy Story 3 is the crown jewel in a franchise with plenty of gems that shine. With its message about self-worth, a story with dark aspects to it that help give the best of both worlds to the audience, and closures that were perfect to make them worth it while they lasted. I will give this movie 9.8 SOs out of as well. So that is my review on Toy Story 3. Y'all can let me know what you guys think about this memorable Pixar film. This Pixar sequel has really stood the test of time. Like most threes are like the third entry in most installments are not a favorite, but Toy Story 3 stands out. Like I said, it's dark, it's real, and it really brings to light how valuable your childhood can be. How you should never let that go. Yes, you will continue to grow up, but your childhood will always stick with you in here. You should never let it go. And of course, speaking for the toys should never let their value go because of the fact that they got played and the fact that their original owner grew up. Their owner passed them on to another person who would eventually grow up and have another childhood with Bonnie. So you guys can let me know what y'all think about Toy Story 3. Is it one of your favorite Pixar films or not? Or what do you like about it? What do you don't like about it? And y'all can let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys next time. So long, partner.